Hello, my name is James, and welcome to Mirror Domains. Today we're going to be talking about Transformers: The Last Knight. Now, I was somebody who was fairly generous when it came to Age of Extinction, the last film. And I gave it a fairly generous score, even though most people didn't like it. There were aspects of that film that I liked. Now, when it came to this film, unfortunately, too many of the bad things outweighed the good things. And it just highlights what kind of an anomaly this film and this franchise is, because it's going to get panned by the critics. People in general in the North American audience are probably not going to like it. And it's going to do well overseas, so well that it's going to probably make $1 billion. This is a movie that does not deserve to make $1 billion, but it will. And it's sad that it's going to do that, because the studios will think that, yeah, this is what people want. Okay, but you're missing the point here. We want a good Transformers movie. And this is not a good Transformers movie. It's not really a good movie in the overall aspects. And I'll get into that as I look at some of the good and bad points. The only good point that I really liked about this was a little bit of the interactions with Anthony Hopkins and the butler droid, the headmaster. Those were kind of funny, a little bit of a chuckle. I kind of liked seeing, the Cade back in this one. But there were so many inconsistencies with the story. I couldn't get into it, and I was like, we're an hour and 20 minutes into this, and I'm fairly bored. Nothing's happening. And I was like, okay. After that, it takes about, as I said, about an hour and a half to get into it, and then you're like, oh, cool. Okay, I'm sort of jiving with this now. And then it just falls off the radar in the third act, and you're like, oh man, that's not that good. No. 2.5 hours. I spent 2.5 hours watching this film. There is better things you could be doing with your time than watching this movie. I'm sorry. I am going to be one of those people that are going to join the group of thousands saying that this is a bad film. Don't watch it. It falls victim to something that all the live-action Transformers movies have done. And that's, you have this catalog of great characters you can draw from, but you don't use them. You don't use them. You got Grimlock. Doesn't speak again. In the Dinobots, use them. But no, you don't want to use them. Instead, you want to go off in a side story with some small kids that don't go anywhere. And all that does is highlight certain things that they were looking for that could appeal to certain demographics, like a checklist. And when you can sense that, that's when you realize that, I'm not buying it. I smell what you're doing here, and I don't like it. They're going down a checklist saying, well, to appeal to kids, we got to have a small kid in the film. To appeal to cute things, we got to have a cute little robot. Okay, check mark, check mark, check mark, check mark. We got it all. Hey, the North American audience may not buy it, but I know those foreign markets will. And that sucks so bad. The only reason why the foreign markets may do so is because they haven't been exposed to some of the movies we have just yet. But give it time. They will catch on, like the rest of us, and say, no more. We don't want this kind of storytelling. It's terrible. And it's a waste of money. Don't spend that extra money to see it in IMAX. Don't spend that extra money to see it in 3D. If it's free, go see it. That's what I said in my scorecard, which we're going to look at right now. Acting, serviceable. 1. Directing, I would want to give it a 0.5, but the action when it was on the screen is well done and it's well shot. I have to say that. So I gave a 1 for the directing, story 0.5. Cinematography, as I said, some of the action shots are really well done. I gave that a full 0.1, score 4.5. Watchability factor, as I said, only if it's free and out of a curiosity. Adding all that up, that is a 4.5 for Transformers: The Last Knight. Let's get some closing thoughts here. As I said, the Transformers have these great characters behind them. Megatron, Optimus Prime, Ultra Magnus, Starscream, and they're not using them. When they had this roll call in the movie with the bad guys, and you're like, cool, we're going to see some Decepticons here. They invent totally new ones. Okay, fine, do that so you can make more toys. But you know what, if you use some of the classic ones, then you would engage the fans and say, yeah, cool. And yeah, you change some of the designs with Megatron, whatever. At least he had the gun on his shoulder, on his arm this time. But you know what? They're still missing the mark. They don't get the point. The Transformers is not a hard thing to do, and because you got that great source material to draw from. And number two is they overcomplicate the designs. You don't need to have them all like looking like crumpled tinfoil and having these small little things all over the place. No, you know what? If you made them look like the toys, like the cartoons, you made them look like that in CG, man, people would love it. They would just say, well, at least you got that part right. But no, they change it and they overcomplicate it to the point where, why? What's the point? You're spending all this money on CG to animate these little parts all over the body and it doesn't... Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm ranting. It's not a good film. Hot Rod. That's another thing. Okay. They don't take the time to use characters from the mythos and lore, but then they throw in one character. Oh, well, then maybe that looks like a little bit of a Hot Rod. But it has no resemblance to the character Hot Rod. Hot Rod speaks with like a French accent, which is okay, but if you're going to set him up to be the next Prime, which they don't, they use Unicron in this one, but they don't. No, I'm done. I'm so happy, and I want this to be true when Michael Bay says that this one is going to be his last one. But he's been saying that since the third one. I don't buy it until I actually see the next one go into production. Hopefully they reboot the whole thing and just say, okay, we're going to start over from scratch and have the Transformers land in the 80s and go from there. Ooh, that's an idea. All right, that's it. Those are just my thoughts for Transformers: The Last Knight. Please don't waste your money if you have to. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe, please.